Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of The Studio. My name is Adam. Today's episode is going to be a brand new technique talk.
I recall Central Park and fall. Not the shame.
Thank you so much to my studio VIPs, Luke Uemura, Leo Palacios, Cesar Marquez, Artifact Percussion, Zero Gravity Percussion, and Kian. Thank you so much for joining the studio VIP family, and thank you so much for your support. And today's featured studio artist is Eduardo Zurita. Thank you so much for joining the studio artist team, and if you'd like to become a studio VIP or studio artist, you can go to patreon.com/AdamTan, or you can click over here. Welcome back to the first episode of The Studio for 2018. I hope you guys had a great holiday break, whether that was a winter break or a summer break, depending on which part of the world you're in America. It's so good to see you guys again, and I have a lot of exciting things to tell you about this year at the end of this video. But right now, let's talk about some technique. If you're new to this show, thank you so much for stopping by. Technique Talk is a segment that I present on this show, which is related to technique. So there's things like exercises, tips, and tricks. All of these things are covered in Technique Talk. Whether it's auditions, jury, recital, or even if you're just playing for fun, I hope Technique Talk can be helpful to you. But before I tell you about the exercise, let me give you what is at the beginning of every single Technique Talk video, which is of course the disclaimer. Okay, the Technique Talk disclaimer, as you guys know, I am not a professional. I don't teach at a university. I'm not endorsed by any mallet companies. I just really like playing marimba. As a result, a lot of the things I talk about in Technique Talk are all coming from my personal experience. They're all coming from things that I've tried. So I encourage you guys to try any of the exercises or techniques that I talk about in this segment. However, if they don't work for you, that doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. That doesn't necessarily mean that you screwed up. It just means that maybe this method doesn't work for you, and I encourage you to try something else. As I've always said on my videos, I am always learning just like you guys. So if you have any other similar techniques or any similar tricks that you would like to share, please let me know in the comments below. But for now, let's talk about today's exercise, which is called the 8-sock. Now for me personally, my long-term goal on marimba is to be able to play by feel. And what I mean by that is, you know how pianists can play piano by playing and playing and playing, and they don't even have to look at the piano, they just look at the sky or whatever, and they can just feel the notes with their fingers. Now obviously marimba, it's a bit different because our fingers are not directly touching the instrument. In fact, we have a mallet, which is sitting between our hand and the instrument. So it's quite hard to play by feel. So I thought about it for a long time, and playing by feel basically boils down to extended kinesthetic memory. That is muscle memory that has been developed to a point where you can literally feel the distances required to reach certain notes on marimba. And I wanted to get my kinesthetic memory to that stage where I could play at any range of the 5-octave marimba without having to look directly at the hand that was moving. And also there are many situations in pieces where you need to use double vertical octaves where you can't look at the hands because either it's too far apart or it's too fast. For example, my piece Path, and pieces like Merlin, even Twinkle Twinkle Little Star played in parallel chords. So that's why in the last 6 months, I forced myself to work on my double vertical octaves through the 8-sock. But before I continue, of course, just like all Technique Talk videos, if you would like to have a copy of the PDF of this exercise, the 8-sock, it is available right now on my website, adamtanpercussion.com/download, or you can click over here, or you can get it in the description below. But basically, this is a free download. You don't have to pay anything. You don't need to sign up for anything. You can just click the download button. It's at the bottom of the page with all the other Technique Talk exercises. Okay, so for this video, you're going to need 2 pairs of mallets. Of course, you need 1 pair in each hand, and they should be your mallets that you use most frequently. Like, use the ones that you're most comfortable with. Next, of course, you need a marimba. Now, it does not have to be a 5-octave marimba. It's preferable that you use a 5-octave because then you can really train your range and your reaching. But if you only have access to a 4-octave or a 4 1/3, that is okay too, because this exercise only requires 4 octaves. And finally, this exercise is best done with a metronome, so make sure you have one on hand. So we're going to go through every stage of the 8-sock exercise stage by stage. I'm going to explain what each one is, and I'm going to have the example on screen as well. And if you have the PDF with you, it's exactly the same, so you can either refer to the PDF or see the one on screen. So for the purposes of this stage by stage explanation, I'm going to be setting it to a slower tempo that is quarter or crotchet note equals 80, and it's going to be in quavers or eighth notes. So you're going to be hearing that throughout all of these recordings. Okay, so the first part of the THEBSOC is of course the warm up, and it is basically static double vertical octaves. Once you are ready and you finish the warm-up, you can move on to stage 1, which is the 2-beat contrary motion. The reason why it's called 2-beat contrary motion is because it takes 2 beats before you actually move to the next note. So it's left, right, right, and then you move. Now, as you can see in both the PDF and on the on-screen example, I have arrows that go forwards and backwards. So you can do this example both forwards and backwards, but for the purposes of this part of the video, to keep it short, I'm just gonna be doing it forwards. Okay, so once you're happy with however many times you wanna repeat stage 1, you can move on to stage 2, which is 2-beat triplet contrary motion. I personally have problems with playing this triplet octave thing alongside the quaver beat. You probably could hear it in the video. I was already struggling. So I think it's a good thing to put in there so that you can work with the metronome. And it kind of gives your hands a rest before the next stage, stage 3, which is 2-beat 16th contrary motion. Now this one is more notes, yes it's a bit more dense, but it is just straight 16th notes, so it should be more comfortable and it should be relatively straightforward. It's a really good precursor to stage 4, which is our 1-beat contrary motion. Okay, so this one is where it starts to get a little bit trickier because it is 1 beat now, so the changes happen over 1 beat, you have less time to think, but the rhythm is still only 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and, so it's still pretty straightforward. And once again, just a reminder, you can do these forwards and backwards, or just forwards or just backwards. I would recommend you do forwards and backwards, but I'm only doing it forwards for now. Then we move on to stage 5, which is of course the 1-beat triplet contrary motion. So once again, just like stage 2, the triplet thing kind of messed with me a little bit, but this one also gives you less time to think about it because it's 1 beat, so this one should feel a little bit trickier as well. Once we're done with that, as you might have guessed, we move on to stage 6, which is 1 beat 16th contrary motion. This one is similar to stage 3, it's just straight 16th notes, so rhythm-wise it's pretty straightforward, but now you have less time to think. Now stage 7 to me is the hardest because it has the most notes, but it also has the least time to think about it because it's only half a beat. So every quaver or 8th note beat, you are moving notes, and as a result you're basically playing 2 chromatic contrary motion scales in a staggered format. And finally, we move on to the final stage, stage 8, which is simultaneous contrary motion. So yeah, that is the stage-by-stage explanation of the THEBSOC, the 8-stage octave challenge, and if you're enjoying the video so far, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of the exercise so far in the comments below because it's about to get lit! Okay, I'm really nervous about this because now I'm going to play the entire exercise for you guys from start to finish, all 8 stages including the warm-up. We're going to be doing it at a tempo of quarter equals 100. Okay, so this is the entire 8-stage octave challenge or THEBSOC. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm issuing you a challenge to upload a video of yourself playing any part of the THEBSOC, the 8-stage octave challenge on Instagram and using the hashtag #TheTHSOC, that is THE8SOC, and make sure you tag me as well at the Studio Family, and I will repost your video on the Studio Family Instagram page so that other people can see how you're doing, and then we can have this nice little collection of THEBSOC videos because I think it's a really fun exercise, so if you want to try, get on it. Once again, thank you so much for watching today's today's Technique Talk video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please click that red subscribe button below to keep up with my uploads if you haven't already. We are almost at 8K subscribers. Thank you so much for all of the support. And finally, I have 3 2018 announcements about what is happening this year. The first one is, a lot of you guys have been asking me whether I'm writing a new piece, and I did tease a few of you guys through Instagram DMs and things like that. But yes, I am writing 2 brand new marimba pieces that will be premiering in both February and March. One of them is a 5-octave marimba duo, and one of them is a 4 1/3 marimba solo. I think they're really fun pieces, and I'm writing them right now as we speak, so expect to see them very, very soon. The second announcement is the first concert for 2018 that I'm doing is going to be with my friend THERESE. Once again, it's going to be a continuation of Marimba Dreams. It's called Song and Dance, and it's happening in Melbourne at MELBA Hall at the University of Melbourne. And finally, the final announcement has to do with Mallet Lab. So Mallet Lab is basically a summer camp based around mallet percussion, as you might guess, so keyboards and stuff like that, and it is based in West Palm Beach, Florida in the USA. It has a killer faculty, including my friend Drew Tucker, who is the organizer, Ivan Trevino, Rob Nopper, Andrea Vinay. Killer lineup of people all in the one place for a whole week. But yes, I'm truly grateful and truly humbled to be alongside such a brilliant list of faculty, such a great bunch of people. They're all really nice people as well, and they're all inspirations to me. So if you are going to Mallet Lab, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, that's happening. Isn't that awesome? But yes, thank you so much for watching our first episode for 2018, and I'll see you next week for another episode of The Studio. Good night.